How you doing?
Okay.
It was like being in the middle of a spy thriller.
I'm highly intimidated by John. Every time I've ever heard him talk after JonBenet's death, he's just been dead set on catching this killer. I don't want him catching me. No one's gonna catch me. I'll die before that.
I love JonBenet. Died accidentally. No.
If they want to come up to me, sit in my lap, kiss me.
It involved the FBI, Homeland Security, ICE, British intelligence, Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
And stick their tongue in my mouth. That if that's what they want to do.
The only thing that I can say is it's not what it seems to be. It's in every way.
There are other people involved in knowing a child, and I wish to protect them. I can't discuss the details of my connection with her. It's unfortunate. I wished I could.
Episode 22, John Mark Karr. We're going to look into this fucking weirdo.
John Mark Karr, John Mark Karr, John Mark Karr?
Yeah, John Mark Karr, John Mark Karr.
Oh.
And joined here with Teddy, the Born Again, and Donna.
Huh?
Teddy, you still doing that Born Again life?
Doing what? What are you talking about?
Born Again?
No, and I gotta go. I can't.
Is that some kind of diet or something? No.
Yeah, I gotta go. I was just dropping him off.
She's not staying, Bobby. No,
I gotta go.
She's gotta leave.
What
She's just
the
dropping
fuck?
me off. She's got shit to do. She's got cosmetology school. She's a beautician now. She's trying not to look ugly
What?
anymore.
For the thousandth time. It is not cosmetology.
Whatever. It's
What
something.
is it?
It's something about
Costco.
being ugly.
Oh,
And
you
not
work at Costco?
They got cosmetologies up there.
No,
No,
they
what?
don't.
That Cosmos,
It's not
yeah,
like
they
Wait, do you
do.
think cosmetology school was
When they
Costco?
have them in, no. it's
You
not
go to
like
you go to
that.
Cosmos. You go next door. You get a $7
Okay,
plate.
wait. I'm sorry, Donna.
Yeah.
Another job?
You know,
Training you?
Teddy,
I'm expensive. What can I say?
He lives the life of luxury.
Yeah. And it's weird because he found a way to program you in a way that, like,
I'm not programming nobody.
I'm just saying she
not doing
seems
nothing.
totally fine with it.
She is, Bobby.
I've
It's an
accepted
honor.
This arc with Donna, is it an arc if it's just downward? Is that the thing?
It is an arc. It's
Are we just on the back end of her
Just
arc?
don't even worry about it.
It's not an arc.
I gotta
it's a
go.
car.
I gotta go. I
This
gotta
is
go.
so depressing.
Bye.
Wait, no, you're not leaving yet. Hold on. You got.
She don't want to be here. She don't need to be here. We don't need her.
Stick around for our intro.
Right, all right.
What I like to do is I like to, when she makes me dinner, whatever she makes me the first time, I throw it on the floor. And so she's got to make me more food.
That's
So
why
she's
I
going to
make
go
a
to
one-pot
Costco. She's
meal.
going to learn how to cut hair. She's going to buy chicken tenders for the discount.
I like that you understand that they also sell food, but still think that she's going there for some sort of haircutting or cosmetology.
All I know is she better not look like this.
Donna,
when
what
she comes
department are you
back to
working
me.
in?
Cashier.
Are you just? Oh, that's
Just a cashier.
Oh, that's fine.
So she does like nails, pedicures, manicures. She does manicures and woman
No,
manicures.
Teddy,
She
Teddy,
doesn't discriminate.
No.
Well, how long is your shift? Are you gonna be able to come back?
I mean,
She'll come back when she picks me up. When I use my beeper to send her back here.
Oh, you gave her your beeper?
Yeah. No. Well,
only if it's an emergency.
Right. Elliot.
Like if you
Page.
really need me, because
Yeah.
I'll be busy.
I know. I don't ever use it. I only use it all the time when I'm
You can't
needed.
interrupt her shift at Costco. You know, she'll be. You know,
No, I can't
she might be
answer
with
my
a
phone,
client.
but I can look at the pager.
She can look at the page. I don't care if I need it for something, but I don't need it for nothing right now. I got my best friend in the world, Bobby,
Donna,
who I appreciate
Just
and love.
get in that car and drive, and don't ever look back. Honestly, I gave you guys like a week, and you guys, I feel like, have been going on like a month now.
Oh yeah, we do well together when she's.
Do you?
completely
You've turned this
compliant.
into a shell of a former woman she used to be.
I think you give her too much credit for
We're trying. We're
the
trying.
potential you
Look.
saw in her. I see her for who she is, and I think I'm one of the first people who's ever done that. Stop making noise, you fucking idiot! God. Get out of here. Can we get the episode started? Donna,
let's get it started.
Go to work, paint some
All right, I
nails,
gotta go.
give me
All
some
right.
chicken
All right,
nuggets.
Donna, I'm gonna miss you. I sincerely mean
all
that.
right.
Yeah.
And God bless your soul. All right, well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan Desmechia.
And this is
JonBenet today.
John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr, Alexis Valeron Wright, John Mark Karr,
John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr.
December 25, man.
Delia Michelle Wright,
John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr.
Man of many names.
Yeah, Alexis Reich, the December 25th man.
December 25th man.
Daxis. We're gonna look into all that.
My God.
Yeah.
They're not even very good names, are they?
I mean,
December 25th, man? You mean Santa Claus?
It kind of reminds me of the Calendar Man, which is like a Batman thing.
Yeah.
Like
Or Gemini Man, which is something that I don't know.
We're going to explore how a guy went from, like, you know, who is this guy?
Who is John Mark Karr?
To, you know, somebody like this.
Here to comment on the ethical nature of this media event, John Mark Karr.
Thank you, Seth and Amy. It's good to be here.
That's a sharp look, Kenneth.
Thank you, sir, but I can't take all the credit. Everything I know about fashion, I learned from my old college roommate, John Mark Karr.
Let me begin by saying that I find this entire affair to be nothing more than a disgusting exploitation of a tragic event. Shame on the Fox Network, shame on Judith Regan, and most of all, shame on O.J. Simpson, who loves the public spotlight so much that he continues to pretend that he killed Nicole Brown Simpson.
Oh my God! Seth Meyers interviewed John Mark Karr.
No, that was Bill Hader.
Who was Bill Hader? Seth
That was
Meyers
Bill
was Bill
Hader.
Hader?
No, Bill Hader was John Mark Karr.
John Mark Karr? Bill Hader has been John Mark Karr this entire time?
No.
You're getting me confused. I think it's all those
that's
fumes
not
from
hard
that,
that's not hard
that
to
hairspray.
do. That's not hard to do. Yeah.
Oh, God. It's got me seeing dragons.
Okay, but no, Bill Hader was playing John Mark Karr in that sketch.
Oh.
He's the only, the only suspect in this case to appear, anybody in this case that's appeared on SNL.
Because Bill Hader is an actor.
Yeah, and he's a very good impressionist. And also, John Mark Karr is way too close to, the Stefan.
Oh, yeah. He's got that kind of
less animated.
effect,
less animated, more psychopathic.
He don't blink none.
Yeah,
Stefan
but
blinks.
so we're gonna say, like, who's this John Mark Karr guy? We've talked about him before, but now we're gonna do a deep dive into how this whole situation came about. How did John Mark Karr,
Who first marked the car, John? You know what I mean?
I don't think you're understanding what that's.
Well, just take me through it.
I'm trying here. So in 2002, that's where this whole thing started.
Someone who called himself December 25 Man, then Daxis, saying he wanted to talk about the case. And I responded, I say, I hear you want to talk, so let's talk. So he starts sending more and more emails. And they got weirder and weirder. And there were times when I wish I'd never responded to him. But I was intrigued, there's no question, especially as he really started to open up. There was so much detail, and there were these little things where you could check him out are true.
What does that butler from Downton Abbey mean, Bobby?
That is a University of Colorado professor, Michael Tracy. Michael Tracy also produced a documentary in 1998 about JonBenet called JonBenet's America, which might have been where John Mark Karr's initial interest in him began. He was a journalism professor.
Journalism. See, journals. No,
journalism. Like,
Draws.
News.
News. Makes okay.
And so in 2002,
he reads
when
the news.
he's first contacted by this guy who's December 25th man. Okay,
6 years after JonBenet had been killed.
Quick
Wow,
math, Teddy.
Look at me.
Wow,
Character development.
Living with Donna thing is really working out for you.
Yeah, the fumes are pretty good. I like the hairspray. Now that I think about it.
Finally, in the summer of 2006, Michael reaches out to an attorney named Brian Morgan to share his correspondence with Daxis.
And so Brian read it and immediately went down to the DA's office to meet Mary Lacy, the DA. I get a call from Brian saying Lacy would like to see more of the emails. So I said, sure. Mary read them that night, and she contacted me the next day and said she was reading them and the hair on the back of her neck was standing up. That's when the investigation began.
It made Mary Lacy's hair. Mary Lacy was the district attorney at the time in 2006. She's the one who wrote that big letter for John Ramsey saying everybody's innocent. She prescribes to the intruder theory, and the hair on the back of her neck, which it was standing up, and she's got a bob.
And
so
you know
that's a lot of
why?
hair.
Because she was super invested in the case, and we already know from other clips that she was already having meetings all the time with John, which was weird. Like, you don't meet with a suspect in an open case like that. And then also the fact that she used to be an investigator in the sex crimes unit.
Oh, she was like a Mariska Hargitay.
During 1996. And supposedly people have said that she's always been bitter that the chief guy didn't ever put her on the
Oh, wow.
She was always bitter about that. And she was always an intruder person from the beginning. And so it was just interesting. And also, I found it really interesting because that's from the Tubi documentary, too. About Michael Tracy and why, you know, that whole situation with him going to the DA. Here's him in 2006 talking to the press about why he went to the DA.
I think the history of the track record of the police in this case is not great. So no, I didn't go to the police. I went to the DA's office.
Okay, two things. First, is he in the set of Jurassic Park 3? Is there a Spinosaur nearby? Because someone's ringtone's going off, okay?
Now, that was just the 2006 equivalent of holding up a newspaper to let you know what year it was.
That's hilarious. Oh, God. 2006, that was the year a lot of kids got cleft lips. No one can explain it. But Michael Tracy, second thing, he told the press right then and there, I had to take it to the DA because the police department, they're corrupt, or what the fuck he just said. And that advances the same narrative that the DA had and the Ramseys had and, you know, certain people in their camps earlier or throughout this whole saga. Yeah. But that's not what he said in the other clip. He said he took it to the DA because his lawyer just took it there. Yeah,
he called his lawyer. Because obviously, again, this guy's been communicating with this dude for fucking 4 years.
4 years!
And now he got to the point where he's just like, I should probably.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I should probably call my lawyer, and then the lawyer's just like, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
he's like, you know, on the 1300th day of getting emails from this killer, allegedly.
Jesus Christ!
I think I'm finally.
So they were already in the Ramsey camp because they say we a lot, but here's John also too when the whole in regards to like when a new suspect like this emerged.
Well, you're skeptical. You know, they say there were half a dozen of them that I could describe the circumstantial evidence. You'd say, holy mackerel.
On top of that, the Ramseys are now dealing with another life or death issue, the reemergence of Patsy's cancer.
She was in remission. I had been in remission for a couple years, and it came back about 5 or 6 years after JonBenet died.
Jesus Christ, he can't turn that thing off when he talks too slow and stuff.
Yeah, it almost sounds like he cares about her.
Yeah, almost, but we've seen that connecting point thing. But okay, so you know, in the midst of all that's going on, but then we also got this now Michael Tracy has teamed up with the police. They've turned this over.
It was like being in the middle of a spy thriller. It involved the FBI, Homeland Security, ICE, British intelligence, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And I had to carry on. And then at one point he said, Michael, would you like to hear my voice? I said, sure.
Daxis. He's an international terrorist, practically. I mean, it's like, well, you know, super secret, multinational crime, like, you know, stopper.
It does kind of make it sound like that. Also, I mean, doesn't mean it's not.
No.
Like, what if this is part of this weird, you know,
international crime ring thing?
Yeah.
Well,
ball guy, pedophiles, whatever.
Well, little girls get kidnapped and abducted all over the place.
Yeah, but so what he kind of said on there was pretty chilling. So
I'm highly intimidated by John. Every time I've ever heard him talk after JonBenet's death, he's just been dead set on catching this killer. I don't want him catching me. No one's gonna catch me. I'll die before that.
I want to understand what happened that night.
You have to understand, Michael, that it was a special night. It was Christmas night. I took her from her bed and took her into the basement. When she woke up, she was a little bit disoriented. My first reaction to her was that you're okay, you're safe, you're with Daxis. I said, do you know what a good little girl you are?
In graphic detail, Daxis describes kissing JonBenet and then sexually abusing her before tying her up.
Her wrists, her arms were tied up by a rope. I say, okay, sweetheart, hold your last deepest breath. And then she did. And I just said, yes, my love, you shall dream now. And so I slowly applied the pressure on her neck. At that point, her little body started to convulse and twitch a little bit. I'm still holding the pressure on her neck. And that's when I should have stopped. And I was just like, oh my God. JonBenet, are you okay? Sweetheart, please, are you okay? And I knew she wasn't okay because I knew that she wasn't breathing. thought to myself, God, she is just too beautiful to be dead.
Why did it have to happen?
I don't know. Because I'm an evil, wicked, horrible, dark person. He just deserves death.
Aren't we all?
Christ. So. I hope he bought her a Happy Meal first. Jesus. Daxis, you are a horrible, wicked, evil man.
Yeah.
My God, what for a small crime syndicate of a man.
And also, it's like, hey man, if this is like one of your first conversations with him on the phone, maybe like chill. Like after 6 years, I guess. I mean, I guess you grow some trust. Like I guess he's. Not gonna...
you know,
but he offered up. Do you want to hear my voice? Like this guy seemed kind of disinterested until now. He's like, I'm trying to teach a class.
Yeah, he's like, I got bills to pay, buddy. Yeah,
like, maybe it'll be a book later.
And it's like, okay, so Daxis, did you like write the ransom letter before you had this weird like Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, ghost moonlight making love session with this underage child?
But so as they get further into this little thing, after they trace the calls, they get a little further into the investigation.
The question was, how do we find him? I have the last photo that was taken of Patsy and JonBenet that Christmas morning. I emailed Daxis, and I was bullshitting like crazy. I really think, you know, the original photo has the spirit of JonBenet and Patsy in it. I really want you to send the original. And he said yes. So he gave me a UPS Dropbox in what turned out to be Bangkok. As soon as he gave me that address, it was on a 24-hour surveillance.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Bangkok.
Bangkok, bang, bang.
That's
like,
the best place to go, I guess, if you're like a predator. Which,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, as it turned out, he was.
Authorities trailed Karr for 3 weeks, even photographing him in front of his Bangkok home, and eventually linked him to a warrant in the U.S. stemming from a 2001 child porn case.
Ooh.
Oh,
God. So he's like, so he's from America.
Yeah.
And he had left, I mean, God, child pornography. That's disgusting.
He's fleeing from that, which is interesting because in his little weird manifesto website that we're going to get into after, he doesn't talk about that. Like he talks about he was like fleeing from a California charge, but he never brings up what
the charge was.
Yeah.
Oh,
which
my
is interesting.
God.
The number of people that have confessed in this case that also have like a child pornography charge, like Gary Olive, and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's a weird obsession with children to the point where you're like, I love them so much, I'm willing to admit that I fucking killed them.
Yeah, or maybe I'm willing to admit so I can like not get arrested for other charges.
Or maybe it's like a weird internal thing where they know that like I'm a sick person, and despite me not doing it, I need to be put in jail.
And so like, let me say something that'll help me, give me the help I need, and it's on a subconscious level. That's crazy.
Yeah. So again,
it's like the Pinocchio being like played by Geppetto, but even though they think they're Geppetto playing with Pinocchio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They find this guy in Bangkok. They don't know where exactly he is.
The people in there from Homeland Security and ICE traced him back to where he was living, right? They got the Thai police to do a passport check. So they saw his passport, and that's where they got the name, John Mark Karr.
Bangkok! What happens in Bangkok gets cocked in your, gets banged in your cock, you know? Oh, God. Well, wow. So they got all these people. They've got Dudley Do-Right and the Canadian Mounties, all these other people.
And they're hanging out watching this Dropbox thing.
Wow.
So while they're still surveilling it, though, you know, some shit goes down.
But before authorities can bring John Mark Karr into custody and potentially exonerate John and Patsy Ramsey, Patsy succumbs to the cancer she's been battling since even before her daughter's murder.
She died at a very young age, 49. By the time she was near death, it was obvious that she wasn't going to make it. I had made the decision to, at the doctor's recommendation, to go to palliative care, which is basically just make her life comfortable. Don't try to keep hammering away with chemotherapy and stuff, because it was futile.
Oh, what? So the Patsy we saw a couple months prior in that connecting point in Hawaii with John, where he's like, oh, I'm really excited. I'm building a house. I'm starting a conglomerate.
Right.
And Patsy's trying to, you know, just imply like, oh, this Bible passage changed my life, and trying to, they're just doing their best to pretend that they're happy together. And then within less than 2 months, John's making the decision to put her on palliative care because it's clear that she's going to die.
Yeah. It was this connecting point.
Let me ask each of you this question separately, and almost as if you couldn't hear what I was going to say to her, and vice versa.
I never listened.
Do
This
you?
is like the Miss America pageant.
You never listened to her anyway.
No.
All right.
So it won't be a problem.
It's just interesting because I didn't know that it was a thing. It was like, oh, it's John's choice to basically kill him.
Yeah, John's the only one living that get to tell the version of events.
And he's like, but also they do that thing they always did to the case. It was like, you know, I made a decision based off the doctor's recommendation. Like it's like it's like, oh, people have told me that, you know.
It's like, you know, now he's had 3 women in his life. He's had a chance to like describe like the events after their death. And he's gotten real good at just neutralizing anything, like, you know. And I mean, you know, that's something, whatever. So she didn't get to live to see John Mark Karr get brought in, which...
And she didn't get to live. Here's how Paula Woodward describes the real, I mean, kind of the tragedy for the whole...
Paula Woodward.
When she died, still under the, quote, from Boulder Police, umbrella of suspicion, there was a lot of sadness and anger from those who knew her and loved her. There was such a media bias and a public hysteria against her that she could never get through that.
However, according to John Ramsey, by the time she died, Patsy was no longer fazed by the never-ending scrutiny. She just wanted John to keep searching for their daughter's killer.
I think Patsy had the same reaction as I did. Is it, okay, now let's get on with finding the killer.
Okay, let's get on with it. Find the killer. He says that at least 4 times in this thing. It's ridiculous.
He's like, that's actually the last thing she said before cancer took her breath.
And who cares if she was under an umbrella of like suspicion? Like, we didn't find your daughter's killer is the main thing. That's what you guys should be focused on.
Yeah,
like,
and also it's like, well, also there was enough fucking evidence for you guys to be, for the grand jury to recommend you being charged. And even if you were just part of the cover up and someone else, you know, maybe Brent, his actions killed JonBenet, then it's like they while she was alive, they didn't do enough to find JonBenet's killer or to have there be a public.
It was all about clearing their name, and it's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but luckily 2 months later, you know, in August, there'd be a little bit of a break in this case.
It's a case that had run cold for a decade, the unsolved murder of 6-year-old beauty queen JonBenét Ramsey. But now, in an instant, it is once again red hot. And here's why. The arrest of 41-year-old John Mark Karr. In a bizarre twist, while he was being paraded before cameras, Karr actually responded to reporters' questions, admitting that he killed JonBenét Ramsey.
I love JonBenet, and she died accidentally.
Are you an innocent man?
No.
What happened? Were you playing with her? What happened?
Her death was an accident.
So you were in the basement?
Yes.
Can you tell us about your connection to the Ramsey family?
No comment.
How did you get into the basement to play with her?
No comment.
And how do you feel now? How are you being treated?
I'm being treated okay.
How long have you known JonBenet?
No comment on that.
So
Okay.
it's just like a bunch of just like no comments yet. Like he's like
yeah, doing
talk to a
press
Hollywood
conference.
producer first.
Right, no comment on anything that could help provide an explanation for why he would be in there. And then only when and then go saying like, did you kill JonBenet? You say yes, she died accidentally. Like not that you murdered her, that you set out to do. And it's like okay, but also he placed it in the basement.
Yeah,
which is interesting to me.
And that's before they extradited him too. Yeah, he says that. Yeah, it's in the basement. That's where he killed her, basically. But before they extradited him too, that was during some press conference they did there, which was fucking weird. And then as they're walking out, the Associated Press, which we've played the full clip before on our Intruder Theories thing, got audio of him, and so we're gonna play this again.
So very sorry for what happened to JonBenet.
In off-camera comments recorded by the AP, Karr restated his claim that JonBenet's death was an accident.
And it's very important for me that everyone knows that I love her very much and that her death was unintentional and it was an accident. The only thing that I can say is it's not what it seems to be. It's,
In what way?
In every way.
Yeah, that always, you know, this whole part of the case is really weird. It's a really strange, like, corner of a room where it's like all these other areas have bookshelves and leather-bound seats, and then this one, it's like a fucking, like, I don't know, McDonald's a dining room circa 90s with all the plastic, like, fucking bird, you know, girls and hamburger helper hamburgers or whatever.
Yeah.
What does he mean by it's not what it seems?
I know, and that's the thing. It's like, so they're going to extradite him now. So now they extradite him, and he's coming back to the U.S. Okay. Mary Lacy then gives a press conference.
John Mark Karr, 41 years old, was arrested for the murder of JonBenét Ramsey yesterday morning at approximately 6 a.m. in Bangkok, Thailand. He began his employment as a second-grade teacher in the international school system in Bangkok on Tuesday morning of this week.
It was an announcement that was 10 years in the making. Could this be the event that would remove the umbrella of suspicion that had covered the Ramseys for a decade?
There's a great deal of speculation and a desire for quick answers here. We should all heed the poignant advice of John Ramsey yesterday. He said, do not jump to conclusions, do not jump to judgment, do not speculate. There have been no charges filed at this time. The analysis of the evidence in this case continues on a day-by-day, on an hour-by-hour basis as we speak.
Oh, so she's weird. Like, wait, well, let's heed the words of John Ramsey,
yeah.
the man who's been in my office.
Jump to conclusions, which is kind of
that's a little strange.
It's kind of strange because he even told Barbara Walters that, you know, kind of the same thing.
And Karr claims to have written letters to the Ramsey family, but John Ramsey told Barbara Walters that he had never heard of Karr.
Did you ever hear of the suspect? Do you have any idea how he knew your daughter?
I don't, Barbara. And I had not heard of him, so I don't know. And I don't know, you know, we don't know certainly that with 100% certainty that this is the guy.
With John Mark Karr in the El Paso County Jail, investigators begin digging into his background.
The reason why he left the country because he was up on child pornography charges in California, and he left the country. We know from a girlfriend who came up to Boulder to meet us, he wanted erotic asphyxiation. We know he's into that. We know he's fixated on young girls aged around 6.
But still, we had to have a DNA match. Otherwise, it wouldn't go anywhere. But at least it was progress.
Oh, so he's like nobody jumped to conclusions because it doesn't make sense to him why this guy would be saying that she did it because he doesn't have any connection or relationship with him.
And there started to be a little bit of things that started to like stick out as to like, you know, what's weird about it.
His father's neighbor in Atlanta remembers Karr being there around the time of the murder.
Just a normal, you know, fellow that had worked in teaching, and John and his wife were a very normal, nice young couple.
But perhaps the most striking inconsistency in Karr's claims may be what a senior Thai police officer says Karr also told investigators, that he drugged JonBenet before having sex with her the night she died. Yet autopsy reports obtained by ABC News show no sign of drugs in JonBenet's system.
Oh, so that's it's all bullshit. He's just lying. He's like a LARPer.
But it's like, you know why? And it's like he also had very intimate knowledge of the stuff. And the emails that he had sent him where we won't say anything about like those because those are pretty graphic. But if you look hard enough online, you can find some of the descriptions of what he said.
What's he say?
Daxis that he did. Just really gross stuff.
Like what?
I'm not saying it.
What did he say, Bobby? What things?
I'm not saying.
Like he picks his nose?
No, just
I pick my nose.
No, just that basically, like he basically had kissed her on the genitals, and that'll be bleeped. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
On her pussy.
Yep. Okay.
He said that word.
On her genitals.
Did he write genitals or pussy?
I'm not saying. I don't know.
Well, I'm just asking.
Vagina, honestly.
He said vagina?
Yeah, he didn't say pussy because you don't say that when you're talking about a little girl.
You just said pussy.
It's gonna be bleeped.
Wow. Pussy.
Stop it.
Okay, I'm just saying. I can tell you.
So, you know, they ended up. This is what. So he's got. You know, he's talking to the cops and stuff, and here's what's going on.
On August 20th, 2006, investigators questioned John Mark Karr. His statement is a near identical match to the one he told Michael Tracy in their many phone calls and emails.
He confessed the story he told in the emails and the story he told in our phone call conversation is very consistent.
But when investigators look into John Mark's whereabouts at the time of JonBenét's murder, they determined that he was visiting family in Georgia. And that wasn't the only roadblock to indicting John Mark Karr.
The DNA doesn't match.
So I let him go. I had no choice. And so that was a kind of a test run in a way on what it was going to be like if and when we catch this guy.
Oh, yeah, that you got to test the DNA, you got to check what the whereabouts were.
Yeah, all these things.
Wow, shocker.
But John also seemed to be ahead of that, which is weird.
That is weird, Bobby.
And it's a thing where I guess they didn't know until he came to the United States. Otherwise, they didn't do the due diligence to.
John was not convinced that he was like, oh, this. It almost seems to me like there was what's his name who wants to Michael Tracy who wants to like protect his ass, you know, because he may have been talking to a serial killer, and it's like at one point do you become like, I don't know, you don't get to go to heaven or something, right. You know? And then so he sends the stuff to the DA because his lawyer does, and then the DA at the time, Mary Lacy, she worked for SVU, Boulder, Colorado edition, back when this all happened, and she didn't get the case, and she may have almost as an act of revenge, she'll probably maybe jump the gun to maybe want to be the person who finds the killer of JonBenét Ramsey and have that as part of her legacy. So then she's sharing all this information with these people, and then once they get the Daxis, who offers after 4 years, asking the guy, do you want to hear my voice? Like he didn't want to ask him like, you know, throughout the 4 years or something.
And that's it. Speaking on the 4 years too, looking at the ACandyRose too, because this is like the be-all resource for a lot of JonBenét's stuff.
Yeah,
this website.
ACandyRose, Kanye West's ex.
No, well, they also talk about that the Colorado CU professor had a 4-year email with suspect Ramsey family, in quotes, unpaid PIs, Ollie Gray and John St. Augustein were privy, in quotes, to emails between Tracy and Karr. Lou Smith and Ollie Gray pressed Mary Lacy to pursue Karr.
Oh.
Yeah. Linwood said it proved the parents' innocence. So, interesting that they kind of distanced themselves from that, where it's, you know.
Yeah.
And also, so wait, were they... That's weird. Isn't that like withholding stuff too? If their PIs were kind of privy to...
Like
that's why they're letting this email exchange go on for 4 years. Then
maybe
is that why it's going on for 4 years? Because basically they're encouraging him to like, hey, keep them talking, or like, hey, when this comes out, or maybe it's a thing of like, hey, hold this press. We don't need it yet. Let's wait. This will be the right time. Patsy's dying.
It'll be like
John's gift to her. Let's try to clear her.
It'll be the ultimate sympathy, you know, crotch punch. And I just want to say real quick, that I remember when we did the Intruder Theory episode 5 of JonBenet today, that there was a point where John Mark Karr was saying that before Patsy Ramsey's death, he knows that she was aware of his letters or something he had written.
That's what he said, yes.
And it makes me wonder if there's a weird kind of thing in this whole nucleus between Michael Tracy, John Mark Karr / Axis or whatever his name is, and the Lou Smith and what were the names of the people again? It was
Ollie Gray,
John St. Augustine, and John St. Augustine.
Who, by the way, that's that one guy.
Yeah, I remember that name.
We don't like him. Remember, he's the guy that's in all the documentaries about him, but he's presented as like a detective.
Oh, he was the guy that was in the 60 Minutes Australia feature where he's like, "This is called evidence."
That was the unpaid PI.
Oh my God, unpaid PI.
John St. Augustine. Remember, we said we were coming for you.
There's still a large portion of the world that still thinks the family had something to do with it. And it's only because of why? It's because of the narrative that has been pushed for so many years that it had to be somebody in the family. Not based on evidence, based on what they believe, because their theory was that from the very beginning.
Okay, is that fucking guy?
Yeah, St. Augustine.
Detective St. Augustine?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy, he's a petulant fucking weasel. And him saying there's a large portion of people across the world who still think the family did it because
they're told that in the media. And it's like, listen to me, motherfucker, this is number one what you guys are doing too.
He had a smirk on his face. It just
and his name's Detective John St. Augustine.
We're gonna look into you, John St. Augustine. And I swear to God, if we find out you barely had anything to do with this case, we are going to destroy you.
Bobby is one of the best researchers. You better buckle up, John. You better pray to St. Augustine that you didn't have any
and again, so he's supposed to be the police representative.
He said it like 18
Hello
episodes.
there.
He said it like 18 episodes.
Welcome back, John St. Augustine.
But he's getting plenty of money for appearing on all of these shows.
Well, that's good because he wasn't getting paid for years.
It's interesting though. It's because again, like, so he's free, and then it's like, what do you do? Because then a lot of people, again, we saw in that SNL clip, they kind of accuse him of, wanting the spotlight.
Yeah.
But again, he said in those tapes that we saw and on his insane website that, again, we're going to get to, that he didn't want the fame. He didn't want to be caught.
Oh, yeah.
Why would he want the spotlight? And then other people have accused him, too. There's been other weird theories where people are like, oh, he wanted to get extradited because he wanted basically a free ticket back to the
weird,
US.
yeah. What did he want?
No, but he's even pointed out that that's not true because in the U.S., you can go to any embassy, surrender your passport in exchange for a one-way ticket home, and they give you a temporary passport, and then you pay for the ticket when you get back.
Oh.
So it's
he
not
could have
that.
gone back in any way.
So it makes it seem like maybe he didn't want to be caught, but he then gets kind of painted in the media as this person who's, like fame and attention seeking.
He's using the case to kind of manipulate his way back to his homeland.
Yeah, he's now walking free again. And so, before we get into more clips, I guess it'd be a good time to let's go ahead and just introduce the website now.
Yeah,
it's you'll see the website, JohnMarkKarr.com.
Oh my God!
Literally, the top title for the website is "Media Lies and Law Enforcement Blunders That Have Granted Me Immunity for Life."
What?
Yes.
That don't make no sense.
And it's
what is this, like a newspaper?
This is like a weird update board where if you scroll to the very bottom, he kind of talks about how, and he responds to any things that come out about him.
What the fuck? He's got like pictures of JonBenet and him. The picture of him makes him look like he's a bad guy.
Yeah, and he also like marks some of these pictures, like JonBenet Ramsey.
Like, how do you have the rights?
There's one right here, and it says designed by Karr. Like he's got his own photo business that like, oh, good job touching this one up, John.
Yeah, all you did was put a vignette ring around it and make it less focused.
Cleaned it up, I guess.
You're
a little
so
bit.
fucking stupid.
You didn't clean it up. He's like, oh, I guess it's blurred a little bit.
Yeah.
Fucking amateur.
Yeah, he's
anywho, and then he colorized his 7-year-old family, or his 7-year-old picture of him, designed by Karr. Look at that.
Wow.
Colored in. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It looks like when someone brings in like a damaged photo and they give it to someone like, oh, I want to remember my great-great-grandmother.
But they're not really that good at it.
No, and it ends up looking like some ugly Don Bluth kid from some Dog Go to Heaven movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's some bad shit. So, I guess he found it a little hard coming back because then, in 2007, he kind of explains, what's been going on with him in Greta Van Sustren's on the record, which I kind of like her because she literally, the way she greets him is just absolutely insane.
How you doing?
Okay.
Just okay, or tell me what's going on in your life?
Well, a lot has changed, definitely, since last summer. Last summer, I was working in a beautiful school, and I've been a teacher for 10 years, and so now I'm not, and things are quite different, but it's really nice to be surrounded by family and friends and special people in my life.
You're living here in the United States?
Yes, I live in the United States.
In what city?
I live in Atlanta.
And you like Atlanta?
Yes, it's been kind to me.
Greta Van Sustren.
Also, Atlanta, like that's where the Ramseys will live it too. So it's like, Jesus, I know you got family there, but
yeah, and that's where CNN's based, and that's where his father's from. John Mark Karr's father.
Interesting.
Interesting that there's these hubs of places.
So he didn't. It didn't take long for him to get over the hurdle of coming back though and finding love.
But I've met a very special girl who's helped me get through this time, which it was difficult to go from being a teacher with a career that I loved and to be back in the United States after what happened. And she's a wonderful girl, and I love her very much. And
Gonna marry her?
that's a good possibility, yes.
Where'd you meet her?
She extended her concern about what my family was going through, and we met that way.
So, like by email or called your house? Or?
She called to my father and to extend her concern.
Oh my
I guess
God.
just try to get him like, how'd you meet her?
How'd you meet her?
Definitely email.
You get married?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have given that out. Like email or
You
phone
know,
call. And he's like, oh yeah, thank you.
My girlfriend in Canada, like, come
called
on.
my dad because he had to say dad because he knows he lives at his dad's house.
Oh.
So that's how he didn't want to get tripped up on another question by saying no. She called.
Yeah.
Where's she calling you from?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I'm not part of your parole. Was you weren't supposed to have a cell phone?
She's so funny. She's just bullshitting him. She's like, because she can read him.
Yeah, and then so here's some of the public reactions he talks about, which is weird, where it sounds like it's bad, but then he like paints it out of it.
Well, the response sometimes can be difficult that I get from the public. When I do go out, there are times when it's not positive.
People say things to you?
They do. Yeah.
Like?
I've been called certain derogatory terms that aren't very pleasant. That
like?
Killer, murderer.
In public?
Yeah, shouts. I went with my girlfriend to a antique store recently, and the co-owner of the store came in, and he recognized who I was. And as I left the store, he walked out of the store and started shouting obscenities to me as I walked down the sidewalk. It was really difficult. But as a whole, that's more rare than other reactions that I get. But it can be negative, and that's difficult for me because I don't know what a person has in mind for me past shouting obscenities. So
let me get this straight. This guy, he had child porn charges in California.
Yep.
He was teaching kids in another country, and he was like, like living that elementary school, international elementary school life. And then and he's saying like he loves kids, but he also is saying that he had sex with JonBenet, and she died accidentally, and yet the Ramseys aren't going after him because like they're saying like everybody just like take a step back.
It to the cops and Michael Tracy.
Yeah, and now he's just living free in Atlanta because clearly he wasn't charged because he didn't have the DNA, and he also didn't have. They placed him in Atlanta when he was during the.
And I wonder if that was just based off that one neighbor's testimony, which I doubt it because I'm sure his dad said it too.
Yeah,
but he also had a place in Alabama too.
Somewhat. I mean, in the very beginning it wasn't so kind, but as a whole, Atlanta's a nice city. It's a wholesome place, and I feel safe there.
Do you plan on staying there, or?
I'm not sure that I'll stay there, but I also have a home in Alabama, and I go back there. I was just there recently, and the people in Alabama, of course, know me. They've known me for years, and they've been very nice to me and kind, and I was in Alabama recently and went to church, and it was quite a wonderful experience because my old friends came up and greeted me, and it was really wonderful. They were very supportive, gave me hugs, and told me they would pray for me and introduce me to their children, and just really wonderful. It was a great experience to be back in Alabama. So
Disney to the children.
Oh, come meet my child, John Mark
Safe
Karr.
haven for pedophiles and killers.
Yeah, who are these old friends? Is he from Alabama? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Because his dad lives in Atlanta.
But it's reminded me of this too.
As being an ordained minister in the church, to say to other pastors, if they ask me, would you recommend these people come into my church? It's their church. But they represent God. They're the shepherd of the flock.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What if we were murderers?
Yeah.
Would we be denied access to a church? I hope not.
That's the people that need to be there.
God. My God.
Well said, Patsy.
Yeah.
And so it's good to see that he was embraced there.
Yeah, he was embraced by the same type of people that the Ramseys would want to embrace them for having covered up the death of their child. And that is also like I don't know. This is a really weird part of the case. John Mark Karr leaves quite a weird mark on the case.
Here's him when she's asking him about why Bangkok.
How did you end up in Thailand? Out of all the places in the world one could go, you went to Thailand.
I've been living abroad for 5 years, and I've lived in Europe and Central America and off the coast of South Africa, different parts of the world, and that just was my next destination. I'd always been interested in Bangkok, and so I went to Bangkok and liked it quite well. It was a place that had lots of job opportunities, and I got a job in a beautiful international school. I was so happy with my job. I did not intend to leave Bangkok for at least another 2 years.
Why did you like the job?
It was an international school. It was a grade 2 position.
What does that mean? You mean second grade?
Yeah, right,
okay.
Right. And I'd done second grade in the past. I'd done second grade in Honduras, Central America. I really liked that. I liked the grade level. I had a beautiful classroom. It was probably the most beautiful classroom I've ever had, and I had just spent 3 weeks decorating my classroom, putting up posters that I'd made by hand, and I just had a beautiful classroom, a beautiful class. You know, the students were wonderful. I just started the job. I wanted to be there for at least 2 years.
Ugh. And it was also, it reminded me of something when he said he was in his, it was like, you know, he's been traveling abroad for 5 years. His little manifesto website here, it says, the proof of the fact was that I was in my 5th year of evading California authorities in the FBI when I was arrested against my will in 2006.
Oh.
So he paints it as not traveling abroad, as I was evading authorities and traveling abroad.
Not just like backpacking through Europe and Honduras and Bangkok. It was like, no, actually, I'm trying to evade the authorities. But meanwhile, like what, using my identity to like still like be around these second graders. The way he's like, oh, I really like I really like how they look, or how it looks, or I really like that year or some shit. It's like, shut up! What the fuck? Like this, like, he must be like a CIA agent. And like, this is crazy,
right? And all charming Greta. Here's her asking about why second grade.
Any reason why second grade as opposed to high school? Do you ever teach older kids, or you like little kids, or why second grade?
Well, I was professionally trained to work in the elementary grades, mostly the early childhood grades, which would be like K through 3. And I enjoy teaching children to read, for instance. It's one of my favorite subjects. And then I got involved with teaching children English a bit. But most of the time I worked in international schools or bilingual schools where I taught the same as I did in America. And it's just, high school was not my niche. I did try high school for a bit, but I found that I work best with children, and also on an academic level, I work best with them.
He sounds like he's talking about like dating.
I know. It's like, you know,
I tried high school.
I tried Bumble. I tried Tinder. Yeah, it's just not my thing.
They're too smart. Academically, I'm more in line with a second grader.
Right. Their brains are a little bit too formed, you know, and it's like,
and they're all talkers.
Yeah.
I don't like it when you touch them.
They're a little too self-aware. Yeah. And also they're mean to me because I'm a fucking weirdo. Jesus, he's a fucking weirdo.
He is.
But also, it's like, do you want me to see you as a weirdo, you weirdo? Because,
well,
you know,
it's like he didn't want to be caught, supposedly, but then he's like making this website still, and he's not saying he's did it. It's
and this website's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy.
He like this is just pages and pages and pages of him just constantly talking about himself. He still updates it to this day, and it's just like
And he doesn't really ever, again, say specific stuff, because it's like even she tries to press him on it. We played this clip before.
Ever see the Ramsey home?
In Boulder, of course.
How do you happen to see it?
I've just seen it on several occasions.
Physically, not just on TV or in a picture?
Yes,
you've been to the home?
Of course, yes.
Have you ever been in the home? No answer?
I don't think that I can answer that, no.
Whether you've been in the home?
Yes.
Why can't you answer whether you've been in the home? Just no answer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's so like he like basically gives the reason of.
How about the time that she died?
Well, I think I've responded to that in the past on the record, so I don't think I really feel like responding to it again.
It's sort of curious on the record's name of the show, so it's, I don't know if you've never told me. I mean, we've talked once before, and I haven't gone back through all your interviews, so I don't know if you've said it on the record. Maybe you can help us out again, at least tell us whether you're in Boulder at the time she died.
I did respond to that. It was something I responded to on camera in Bangkok.
Oh, what did you tell them?
Something that I can't repeat anymore. I wish I could, but I can't.
Did what you said in Bangkok, was that correct? So we'll resurrect it. Was that correct, what you said in Bangkok about whether you were in Boulder at the time JonBenet died?
It was correct.
So he maintains his original confession, but for some reason there's no something with like a double confession. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
what
like
the issue is.
It's like
he's not hiding that he may be
once
dead.
he's on American, like U.S. land, he's like, I don't want to say it because like.
Well, he said it to the cops. He said it again.
Oh yeah, I don't.
But it's a thing if for some reason publicly he won't repeat it because now he's apparently been cleared. You know.
God, it makes my head hurt.
And
Bobby.
also, actually, no. Wait. Look, I mean, how...
It's so confusing.
If you look at the top, too, again, with the thing, the top being media lies and law enforcement blunders that have granted me immunity for life.
So that he can talk about it.
But the law enforcement blunders is kind of like a thing on Boulder PD again. Where it's the same thing with fucking Michael Tracy and like being everybody's against the Boulder PD. I don't know, the whole thing's fucking...
It's a weird thing where it's almost just like he's like an interloper put to be there to be enough of a boogeyman so that the Ramsey camp that are defending John and Patsy and saying that they're and saying they're innocent, like don't have to just say, oh, the killers. Like they can have Daxis, they can have their small foreign faction. Because he was in Bangkok, he was elsewhere. They can have like some kind of person, even if it was just a brief period of time, even if it was just lost in the media press game and you know the battle for headlines where nobody really knows all the truth yet. It's because it's also like the Ramseys that weren't saying this is not the man. Instead, they were saying everybody, like they were hedging their own bets or trying to get people to like have the expectation of like take it day by day because you know how many news cycles that still is, you know. But there's something about like John Mark Karr was almost just like put there or is there to almost just be like oh, that's the killer. Now we can all move on. John Ramsey was falsely accused, but not to actually have him be arrested or say anything incriminating. It's just like, and so then it almost feels like he was like outsourced or he was like hired or maybe he's still making money to this day by being that kind of boogeyman or enough of like the first page Google result.
Or something. But then it's also what happened with the California case?
The California case,
the child
porn case.
Yeah, what happened with that?
Right. How come he hasn't been extradited to California?
Well, yeah, and it's like, so how is he still free from that?
Yeah.
Well, that's because in 2007, a computer containing his computer that they had seized as evidence was stolen. A computer seized from John Mark Karr, a former Petaluma schoolteacher who gained honorary for falsely confessing to 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey, disappeared when Sonoma County Sheriff's Department moved its headquarters, authorities said today. So a Sonoma County judge dismissed misdemeanor child pornography charges last October because prosecutors could not show when Karr had used the computer, which was seized from his home in 2001.
But he remained in custody, accused of downloading child pornography in a 2001 case in California. A series of law enforcement failures set him free Thursday after Karr sat in prison for 2 months. All criminal charges are now cleared, but Karr's attorney said Friday that his client feels vilified in the eyes of the public.
There have been claims that Mr. Karr is a child molester or serial killer. With all of the publicity that this case has generated, nobody has come forward with a single complaint about him doing anything wrong.
So the only thing that had evidence...
the only thing that had evidence was stolen in this case. So that's how he got free. So now he's free from that too. So it's like, hey, you admit to this, you come back.
You get to go back home to America, to Atlanta, to Alabama.
You love this case so much and you're such a fanboy, maybe take the rap for us. Feel what we've absorbed our wrath of people thinking you did a This is fucking weird.
Yeah, that's the quo. And when it's quid pro quo, that's the quo. So he did this, and in order to get something that he wanted, like he did this thing.
How is it considered misdemeanor child pornography charges if the FBI were looking for him?
I know
that's because he
that's
fled?
crazy. Well, I don't
That's
know.
insane.
I don't know. I don't know the code, but that's weird. I need to take a break. I need to my head is rattling. I feel
Absolutely.
like I feel like a rat in the Nicolas Cage right now.
Okay.
That is crazy. oh my
shit.
God.
All right, well, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Join us next week for part 2 of this special look inside John Mark Karr. Next week, we're going to look at the California case, the restraining order, what the emails to Michael Tracy actually said, and most importantly, where is John Mark Karr now? Here's a special sneak peek.
John Mark Karr is a viable suspect.
One of the scariest things about John Mark Karr is that he's gone to great lengths to change his identity.
They want to come up to me, sit in my lap, kiss me, and stick their tongue in my mouth. Then if that's what they want to do.
The former suspect is now living as a woman and trying to form a cult of little girls to have sex with him.
Whether someone believes me is not important to me. Protecting people who are innocent is important to me, and I'm going to do it at all costs.